Hello friends, welcome to channel. I am Ashish and this is the second video on the topic of the pancreatic juice, which is a very important topic of the physiology part and usually asked in the long answer type. So in the previous video we discussed about the different enzymes of the pancreatic juice and the trick to remember all these enzymes that is already discussed in the previous video. You can check out the playlist section for the previous video. Now we are going to discuss about the enzyme, the activator of the enzyme, its substrate and the final product that the enzyme produces. So first we'll see about the substrate, its product, then last we'll move on to the activator. So the trypsin, the substrate for the trypsin and the chymotrypsin are same, that's the proteins. Chymotrypsin also proteins. So this converts proteins into polypeptides. So trypsin and chymotrypsin converts proteins into polypeptides. Carboxypeptidase converts these polypeptides into amino acids. Polypeptides into amino acids. Amino acids. Nucleus, as the name suggests, converts RNA and DNA into its constituent molecules that are the mononucleotides. And elastase, as the name suggests, converts the elastin protein. So elastin is basically a modified protein and converts elastin into amino acids. A stands for amino acids. Collagenates convert the protein collagen, the most abundant protein, into the amino acids. So this was all the enzymes related to the proteolytic group. Now let's talk about the lipolytic group. Pancreatic lipase converts triglycerides into monoglyceride and fatty acid. Okay, so the triglycerides are converted into monoglyceride plus the fatty acid. Phospholipase A converts the phospholipids into lysophospholipids. And phospholipase B converts this lysophospholipid into phosphorylcholine and free fatty acid. So the function of phospholipase B is the conversion of lysophospholipid. The structure of lysophospholipid is similar to a phospholipid and it contains only one fatty acid. So it converts lysophospholipid into free fatty acid plus phosphorylcholine. Cholesterol ester converts as the name suggests, it converts CH means cholesterol. Cholesterol ester hydrolyzes the cholesterol ester into cholesterol and free fatty acid. Co-lipase works in association with the trypsin and facilitates action. So what is the action of co-lipase? Helps in action of trypsin. So and what is the function of trypsin? Conversion of proteins into polypeptides. And the last one, that is the bile salt activated lipase. So it converts a group of products into the group of substrate into end products. See, bile salt activates on three structures or the three substrate. One is a phospholipid, second one is a triglyceride and the cholesterol ester. So it converts cholesterol ester, triglyceride and phospholipid into the corresponding parts. So it is actually a combination of the above three. So when the substrate are triglyceride, phospholipid and cholesterol ester into its corresponding product as described above. So triglyceride will convert into monoxide and fatty acid, cholesterol ester into cholesterol and fatty acid, and phospholipids into lysophospholipids, which will be acted upon by the phospholipase B and converted finally into free fatty acid corresponding products. We have discussed about the enzyme, the substrate and the product. Now let's see what are the activators of the enzyme. As you all know, all these enzymes secreted in the non-acting form or the proenzyme. So trypsin is activated by enzyme called enterokinase. So the enterokinase converts the trypsinogen into trypsin. So the newly formed trypsin act as an autocatalyst and again converts the formation of trypsinogen into trypsin. So trypsin is activated by the enzyme enterokinase, which converts trypsinogen into trypsin, and the newly formed trypsin act as an autocatalyst. So this is the newly formed trypsin. Rest all of the enzymes except two, which are the pancreatic lipase and phospholipase A, which are activated by the alkaline medium. So these two are activated by the alkaline medium. So the remaining all are activated by the trypsin. So all the remaining enzymes except the pancreatic lipase and phospholipase A are activated by the trypsin. So trypsin is activated by trypsin itself and the enterokinase. Pancreatic lipase and phospholipase A is activated by the alkaline medium, and rest all enzymes are activated by the trypsin. So this is all about the activation of the different enzymes which is secreted in a non-active form called the proenzyme. Let's talk about the mechanism of the pancreatic juice secretion. So if you look into the histology of the pancreas, suppose this is the histology of the pancreas, then you see it consists of a cell which is called the acinar cell, consisting of pyramidal shaped cell. Okay, they contain zymogen granules. So these zymogen granules are nothing but the main enzymes that are going to be secreted by the pancreatic juice. Now we have to see how actually these zymogen granules are finally produced or formed in the acinar cells. So what happens in the ribosomes of endoplasmic reticulum of the acinar cells. So in the ribosomes, so as you know, ribosomes are the associated with the ER, which is then called the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So they are secreted, these pancreatic juices are finally or actually secreted by the ribosomes, because these are actually the proteins. So proteins are secreted by the or formed by the translation of the mRNA, leading to formation of proteins. So these are the ribosomes associated with the endoplasmic reticulum. So these secretes the pancreatic enzymes. And the materials for the pancreatic secretion of the enzymes like the amino acids are produced by the or obtained from the blood. So these secrete ribosomes produce pancreatic enzymes, which are then passed on to the Golgi bodies. I think everybody knows Golgi bodies are concerned with the packing of the different molecules. So Golgi body pack these pancreatic enzymes into zymogen granules. So if you look on the histology of the pancreas, you can easily distinguish islets of Langerhans and the acinar part or the alveoli part consisting of the zymogen granules in the acinar cells. So then they secrete the enzymes stored in the zymogen granules, and as per requirement or as per the activation of the pancreas by the sympathetic and the parasympathetic supply, these are released into the duct. After stimulation, they are released accordingly. So pancreatic juice consists of two components. One is the enzyme part, and another important component is the bicarbonate ion secretion, which I have already discussed in a separate video. You can check out in the video section of my channel. And now if we discuss about the functions of the pancreatic juice, it is related to the action of the enzymes. So it helps in the digestion of carbohydrate. Yes, the next one will be lipids and proteins. So it helps in digestion of carbohydrate, lipids and proteins. Apart from it, one more important function served by the pancreatic juice is the neutralization part. Neutralization of the acidic chyme which is passed on from the stomach into the small intestine. Neutralization of the acidic chyme. So these functions are served by the pancreatic juice, and you can see how important it is for the digestion of the different products. It may be the proteins or the lipid or the carbohydrate, especially the starch. Pancreatic amylase converts starch into dextrin and maltose. Now the remaining part to discuss is about the regulation of secretion and the applied part of the pancreatic juice and the pancreas. Now we see about the regulation of the secretion of the pancreatic juice. So there are three stages of secretion of the pancreatic juice, that is the cephalic phase, gastric phase and the intestinal phase. So let me give you a brief introduction of all these phases and what are actually these before proceeding further and how the different stages are regulated. So by the meanwhile you should know about for the regulation of the secretion of pancreatic juice, there are three stages: cephalic, gastric and intestinal. So what happens in the cephalic phase stimulates the secretion of the pancreatic juice even before the food has even entered your esophagus. So cephalic phase starts or is stimulated when you are thinking about the food. It may be either the sight, smell, thought or even hearing. That comes under the conditioned reflexes. So cephalic phase has two parts: conditioned reflex, another part is the unconditioned reflex. Taste comes under the heading of the unconditioned reflex. See, suppose if you take the taste of the chocolate, so automatically the pancreatic juice secretion will start. Conditioned reflex involves the stimulation of the secretion of the pancreatic juice when you are either have the sight, smell or thought of the food. Suppose eating a burger. So suppose burger in front of you, your mind will stimulate the secretion of the pancreatic juice even before the food has entered your mouth. So that comes under conditioned reflex. Now if you have put your burger on your tongue, then the taste sensation will be perceived through the vagus nerve from the anterior tooth of the tongue, then that will stimulate the secretion of the pancreatic juice. So either the conditioned reflex or the unconditioned reflex are controlled by the nervous mechanism, that's through the vagus nerve, which stimulates the secretion of pancreatic juice secretion. So the cephalic phase is entirely nervous regulated. Okay, now let's talk about the gastric phase. Now suppose you have eaten a burger, it has passed to the pharynx, oropharynx, then laryngopharynx, then it has entered through the esophagus, and then it has entered the stomach. Now when it has entered the stomach, it has become a bolus. So the bolus, and suppose the food will also stimulate the secretion of different gastric juices which are stimulated by the different cells. It may be chief cells, peptic cells or the mucosal cells. So all this will come under the heading of the gastric secretion. So either the bolus in the stomach or the gastric secretion stimulates the secretion of the enzyme gastrin, and this gastrin stimulates pancreatic juice secretion. So this phase is entirely hormonal. Now from the stomach, the bolus or the chyme has now passed on to the intestine part, that's the first part of the intestine, duodenum. So this is also entirely hormonal. So when a chyme from the stomach enters the intestinal phase, that stimulate the chyme from the stomach enters the intestine, that is the first part of the duodenum. It stimulates the secretion of two enzymes, secretin and cholecystokinin. CC stands for cholecystokinin. So secretin stimulates the secretion of pancreatic juice rich in bicarbonate. So chyme will stimulate two enzymes or stimulate the secretion of two enzymes, secretin and the other one is the cholecystokinin. Secretin will help in the secretion of pancreatic juice rich in bicarbonate ion, and cholecystokinin will help in the secretion of the pancreatic juice rich in enzymes. So all those enzymes, the proteolytic, lipolytic and the amylolytic enzymes that we discussed earlier, all these enzymes are stimulated or are in a more quantity as compared to the bicarbonate part when cholecystokinin is stimulated. So this was all about the regulation of the secretion of the pancreatic juice.